Hey everyone, and welcome to Love Hackers. I'm Alex Carter.
And I'm Sophie Tanaka.
We're both dating experts, and we are so excited to have you here for today's deep dive
We're going to be tackling a topic.
that can make or break your dating game.
What girls like to be called.
Exactly.
It's amazing how much power
There is.
in a simple term of endearment.
It's not just about
Throwing out a random honey or babe.
right
It's about understanding the psychology
behind these words.
and using them strategically.
Exactly, and that's what we're going to uncover today.
We'll be looking at how terms of endearment, or
Toes.
as we'll call them for short, and pet names can really work their magic.
How to choose the right ones.
And even how to navigate.
Those tricky, intimate moments.
What's fascinating is that these names function as little love signals,
Oh, interesting.
setting someone apart and showing a deeper bond.
Like you're special to me.
Think about it. You don't call your barista sweetheart.
Right.
It's reserved for someone special.
It's like you're in my inner circle.
Yeah.
And there's this whole psychological conditioning aspect, too.
Yeah.
I mean, we all learned to respond to our own names, didn't we?
Absolutely. It's about repeated use in specific situations.
That's for sure.
Just like your name triggers your attention, a pet name used consistently in a loving context
Yeah.
can start to evoke similar warm and fuzzy feelings.
It's like creating your own little love language.
Yeah.
And speaking of language, did you know that pet names can act as a form of subcommunication?
It's true.
It's like having a secret code with your partner.
You can say a lot without actually saying anything.
Wow.
A specific pet name can convey a message that only the two of you understand, adding a layer of intimacy that no one else can crack.
Oh, like an inside joke.
Imagine a playful nickname from an inside joke.
Yeah,
It instantly brings back that shared memory and strengthens your connection.
that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
And let's not forget the significance of pet names as relationship milestones. It's like a step forward, a sign that you're ready to take things to a deeper level.
Giving or receiving a pet name often marks a turning point in the relationship.
Yeah.
It shows a willingness to be vulnerable, to open up emotionally, and to deepen that connection.
So let's get practical.
Okay.
We're going to dive into some specific tips for choosing the perfect pet name.
Right.
First up, consider using the diminutive version of her name.
Right.
For example, Kathy instead of Catherine.
This taps into a powerful cognitive mechanism,
Okay.
the reticular activating system,
I've heard of that.
or the RAS. It's the part of the brain that filters incoming information and prioritizes what's important. And guess what?
Right.
Names, especially our own, are high on the priority list.
That's fascinating.
So using a shorter, more familiar version of her name actually grabs her attention on a deeper level.
So it cuts through the noise and makes her feel like you're speaking directly to her soul.
Exactly. It creates an instant sense of familiarity and connection.
Okay, moving on to the classics. Literal pet names
Yeah.
like bunny puppy or kitten.
These are universally understood symbols of cuteness and sweetness, and they often tap into a woman's nurturing instincts. Think about it. Who can resist those big, adorable eyes and playful personality?
For triggering that innate desire to care and protect.
Right. And that creates sense of comfort and safety within the relationship. It's like
Bruh.
building a cozy little nest of love.
I love that.
Yeah.
Now, this next one surprised me. Apparently, names that start with B are particularly effective, like Baby Boo or Beautiful.
Yeah.
But why is that?
It all comes down to the power of sound. B sounds are some of the earliest sounds we make as babies.
Really?
They're deeply ingrained in our subconscious and associated with those primal feelings of being nurtured and cared for.
So even though we're not consciously aware of it, those B sounds are tapping into those deep-seated emotions.
Precisely, and it ties into a fascinating concept called neoteny.
Neoteny.
It basically refers to the retention of juvenile features in adults, which often makes us appear more adorable and triggers protective instincts.
So by using a B name, you're subtly evoking those feelings of youthful charm and vulnerability. That's incredibly insightful. But what about when you're not yet dating? What can you call a girl then, without coming on too strong?
One approach is to use the name her friends call her.
Oh, okay.
It shows you're paying attention and genuinely interested in her world, plus it's a safe bet that she's comfortable with it.
It's like you're entering her social circle without overstepping any boundaries.
Exactly. It's a subtle way of building rapport and showing that you respect her existing social dynamics.
And remember, we also talked about sticking to culturally appropriate terms of endearment,
Yes.
like shug in the southern U.S. or poacher in New Orleans.
It's all about being mindful of social norms and customs. Using a term that's familiar and comfortable for her shows that you're paying attention and that you respect her background. It's those little details that can make a big difference.
It's about respect and understanding, basically, and Finally, there's the option of using teasing names that playfully contrast her personality. But you have to be careful with this one, right?
Absolutely. A little bit of playful teasing can be a fun way to flirt and build rapport, but you have to make sure she's enjoying the banter.
Right.
It's about finding that sweet spot between humor and respect and avoiding anything that might come across as mean-spirited.
So we've covered a lot of ground so far, but we're just getting started.
We are.
In the next part, we'll delve into the more intimate side of things, what to call a girl during those heated moments.
We'll explore the importance of sensitivity, navigating personal boundaries, and even how to tap into her shadow to find names that truly resonate.
Ooh, stay tuned because it's about to get really interesting.
It is! Welcome back to Love Hackers.
We're diving even deeper into the world of terms of endearment,
Focusing on those moments.
when things start to heat up.
It's true. Those intimate moments can feel like a whole new ballgame.
What might have worked perfectly in casual conversation
Yeah.
can suddenly feel awkward.
Or even inappropriate.
Yeah, totally.
And that's where sensitivity and respect for personal boundaries become so important.
It's crucial to remember that everyone has their own preferences and experiences that shape their comfort levels with certain words.
Like those old relationship advice columns.
Right.
Dear Abby, is it okay to call my girlfriend Kitten in bed?
Exactly. The answer is, it depends.
It's never a one-size-fits-all situation.
So what can you do to navigate those moments?
Well, one piece of advice we found suggests starting by simply going with what feels right in the moment
Okay.
and being open to correction.
Like reading the room.
It's about being present and attuned to your partner's cues.
Right.
If she expresses discomfort with a certain name, it's essential to respect her boundaries and adjust accordingly.
It's like a dance, really. You're responding to each other's moves and finding a rhythm that works for both of you.
And sometimes the best approach is the most direct one, just openly asking about her preferences.
There's nothing wrong with a little communication, right?
It shows that you genuinely care about her comfort
Yeah.
and want her to feel good.
Now remember that intriguing concept of tapping into her shadow we mentioned earlier.
Yes.
It comes into play here as well.
In the context of intimacy, it means understanding that someone might have a side to them that they don't always show.
Right.
And certain names, especially in those intimate settings, can help unlock those hidden desires and fantasies.
It's like you're speaking to a deeper part of her personality, acknowledging those secret desires that she might not even be fully aware of.
Exactly. And that can lead to a much more intense and fulfilling experience.
For both of you.
Of course, this requires a certain level of trust and understanding.
Within the relationship.
It's not about manipulation or trying to force anything. It's about creating a safe space
Where both of you can explore.
where you can both explore and express yourselves freely.
Now, if you're still feeling unsure,
Yeah.
there's nothing wrong with sticking to neutral names like honey babe or gorgeous.
These are classics for a reason.
They're widely accepted as terms of endearment.
Conveying affection without being overly suggestive or crossing any boundaries.
They're a safe bet, especially when you're still getting to know someone
Right.
and haven't established a deeper level of intimacy.
And surprisingly, using her real name occasionally can also be incredibly effective.
Really?
It might seem counterintuitive,
Yeah.
but using someone's real name in a loving and tender way can create a powerful sense of intimacy.
So it's all about the delivery.
It reminds her that you see her as a unique individual
Right.
and value her for who she truly is.
It's like you're bringing a sense of reality and depth to the moment, breaking away from those generic pet names
Yeah.
and creating a genuine connection.
So we've tackled those more intimate moments, but what about when you're officially dating? How do those dynamics change the game?
Well, as you move into a more established relationship,
Yeah.
the possibilities really start to open up.
As your familiarity and connection grow, you can explore a wider range of terms of endearment,
Okay.
experimenting with different options to find what feels right for both of you.
All the previous options are still on the table. But now you can also introduce those classic terms.
Like angel darling and sweetheart.
Those are good ones.
These are timeless expressions of affection that convey a sense of warmth and tenderness.
They're perfect for those everyday moments of love and connection.
And here's a surprising tip. Using her full name for humor or to create a playful power dynamic can be incredibly effective.
I hadn't thought of that.
It's an unexpected twist that can inject some spice into the relationship.
Interesting.
Imagine a playful scenario. You're both laughing, and you use her full name in a teasing way.
Yeah.
It creates a moment of surprise and amusement that strengthens your bond.
It's like you're saying, I know you so well.
Exactly.
And I love to see this playful side of you.
It's about finding those unique ways to keep the spark alive and create those special moments that make your relationship truly unique.
Now, before we wrap up this part,
Okay.
I want to address a sensitive topic.
All right.
What about terms that might be considered borderline or even offensive things like slut or bitch?
These terms are heavily loaded with societal baggage and can trigger negative emotions or past experiences.
Right.
Even if you intend them to be playful or empowering, the risk of causing hurt or disrespect is simply too high.
It's about recognizing that words have power
Yes.
and that what might seem harmless to one person
Yeah.
can be deeply hurtful to another.
Always prioritize your partner's comfort and respect their boundaries.
If you're unsure about a particular term, it's always best to err on the side of caution and avoid it altogether.
Remember, the goal is to create a loving and respectful environment where your partner feels cherished and valued.
Now, in our final part, we'll revisit those early stages of dating and explore some safe and effective ways to address a girl before you've established a deep level of intimacy. We'll also share some final thoughts and takeaways to help you master the art of using terms of endearment. Stay tuned. Welcome back to the final part of our deep dive into what girls like to be called. We've covered a lot of ground, from the psychology of pet names to navigating those delicate, intimate moments.
It's been quite the journey, and now we're circling back to those early stages of dating.
Before you've established...
Before you've established a deeper level of intimacy, what's safe to call a girl then?
Right, because you don't want to come on too strong or make her feel uncomfortable.
Exactly.
So what are some good options?
As we touched on earlier, using the name her friends call her is a great starting point.
Oh, yeah?
It shows you're paying attention and genuinely interested in her world without being overly familiar.
It's like you're acknowledging her social circle and showing that you respect her existing dynamics.
Exactly. It's a subtle way to build rapport and demonstrate that you're not trying to rush things.
And remember the importance of using culturally appropriate terms of endearment.
Absolutely. It's about being sensitive to her background and using terms that feel familiar and comfortable to her.
Right.
It shows that you're paying attention to those subtle cues and that you respect her cultural influences.
It's those little details that can make a big difference in creating a positive first impression. And what about using teasing names that playfully contrast her personality?
A bit of playful banter can be a great way to break the ice and create a fun, flirty vibe.
Yeah.
But as always, it's crucial to make sure she's enjoying the joke.
Right.
It's about finding that sweet spot between humor and respect and being mindful of her reactions.
For sure.
If she seems uncomfortable, back off and stick to something more neutral.
So as your relationship progresses and you move from those early stages of dating to a more established connection, the possibilities really open up.
That's when you can start incorporating those classic terms of endearment like honey babe and sweetheart.
Right.
As you get to know each other better and your bond deepens, you can experiment with a wider range of options and find what feels most authentic to your relationship.
And remember, the key takeaway here is that how you say a name matters more than the specific word itself.
It's all about the tone,
Wow.
the intention, and the genuine affection behind it.
It's about creating a language of love that's unique to you and your partner. It's about finding those special words that make her feel cherished, understood, and desired.
Exactly.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave our listeners with a few final thoughts. First, remember that there's no one-size-fits-all answer when it comes to what girls like to be called.
It's about paying attention to individual preferences, respecting boundaries, and finding what feels authentic to your relationship.
Second, don't be afraid to experiment and try different things.
Right.
What works for one couple might not work for another, and that's perfectly okay.
The journey of discovering those special terms of endearment is part of the fun.
Totally.
It's about building a connection and creating a language of love that's unique to you and your partner.
And finally, remember that communication is key.
Yes.
If you're ever unsure about something, just ask.
It shows that you care
Right.
and that you're willing to put in the effort to make her feel comfortable and loved.
Well, Sophie, this has been an incredibly insightful conversation.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing your expertise with us today.
It was my pleasure, Alex.
And to all our amazing listeners out there, we want to hear from you. What are your favorite terms of endearment? What advice would you give to someone who's struggling to find the right words? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And as always, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this episode with your friends. We're here to help you navigate the exciting world of dating and relationships. I'm Alex Carter,
And I'm Sophie Tanaka.
and you've been listening to Love Hackers.
See you next time.